All right, this is Tom, and he's going to tell us about the medals that he won in World War II. All right, Tom, point to what you've got here and tell us about them. Would you like to start with these red ones on the side, the red medallions?
Good conduct medals.
So you were a good boy. You were a good boy.
Oh,
yeah, and good conduct, what does that mean?
Well, that means you, as far as I know, it means that you never give the Army any trouble and nothing. And there's a lot of people that didn't get a good conduct medal because they did something that the Army didn't approve of, and then they go to prison camp.
Oh, okay.
An American prison camp.
Okay, that's not good. All right, and how about these with the colors on them? What are they for? Right here. These with the stripes. What are they for?
Well, this is your Purple Heart, and this is your Combat Veteran Badge, and this is the amount of battles you was in. See them little stars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember the names of the battles you were in?
No, not exactly, because you never got any of these stars and things until it was over, and you went back to a rest area or something. Is the only way you ever found that out. So
you were in Anzio Beachhead.
Yeah.
Were you on Omaha Beach?
Yeah. No.
No. What other beaches were you on?
Anzio and Salerno, Casino. That was up in the mountain.
Yeah. Okay.
They fought up in the mountains, Casino, and there was one chimney left, a stone chimney in the whole town, little town.
Wow.
Yeah.
They destroyed the town.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
They just totaled it.
Ah. Who totaled it? The Germans?
The Germans mostly shelled it, and when the Americans was getting close to it, well, the Germans shelled it to hold the Americans back. Yeah.
They destroyed everybody's homes. They destroyed the whole town, everybody's homes and work. Oh, that's sad.
And I wouldn't say that the Germans destroyed it. All Americans may have destroyed some of it too. Yeah. Because they was both shelling backwards and forwards. Okay. And it's not that the shells ever landed where they expected them to. They landed everywhere where they was expecting them to.
The aim was a little off.
Because they have to have somebody up on a high point, directing them. And with the radio, you could radio back and tell them where to fire. Yeah. And how far out to fire. And once they started firing, they could tell them if they was dropping too far back or dropping too far over. And that's the only way you could tell them something like that. Okay. Interesting. We're going to save your Purple Heart till last, but let's go over here to the colored striped ones again. Well, this is a theater of operation, and this is the country you was fighting in. That was the green, and then this was the good conduct medal.
So they liked how you conducted yourself. You got a lot of good conduct.
These are all the same. Oh, okay. You just had them to put on different things. Oh, okay. Had them
different uniforms. Okay.
You could put them on all together, or you could just put on the one if you only had one. And this is...
tell me about this. What's this?
This is Combat Infantry Badge.
Combat, and what infantry were you in?
That means that you got to be in combat to get one of these. And if you don't have one of them, you wasn't in combat.
Ah.
Because everybody had a combat infantry badge. It was in the fighting. And the 45th Division was a combat infantry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you saw a lot of action.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, tell us about this one right here. This is the very special one. Tell us about this. What is this, Tom?
Well, that's a Purple Heart.
How many did you get, one or two Purple Hearts?
When you get wounded, you get a Purple Heart.
And
how many Purple Hearts did you receive?
One.
One Purple Heart.
One.
Yeah. Now, in the first video, you told us how about your wounds, but tell us again. Tell us about your wounds for the Purple Heart.
Well, I had shrapnel in this hand.
Yeah.
And this hand was turned around up on top, and it busted that knuckle pieces. And they put a plastic, took out the pieces and put a plastic knuckle in there, and that's the reason I can't straighten that finger out. And then I was wounded in the shoulder.
Yeah. Does it still give you trouble to today?
Now, they were dropping what they call a combat infantry battle. It was come down, and then they busted. They were set on a time, and they would drop them out, and they busted, and then shrapnel would go everywhere. That's the way you got wounded a lot of times. And I was just one of the persons that got wounded.
Yeah.
And first my sergeant got wounded, and he got wounded in the back, and I had to dig a hole in pretty minute until night and get him, till they could get him out.
So the Red Cross didn't go get him? You went and got him, not the Red Cross.
Yeah, I went back to the hole that they put him in with the medics, and picked him up and brought him in so they took him back to the hospital.
What was your sergeant's name?
Garland McCrary.
Yeah. Did you know him before the war?
No, I didn't know him before. I met him in the Army.
Yeah.
And
where was he from?
Bluemont, Virginia.
Yeah.
And
which is how far from
how far from your hometown of Winchester is Bluemont, Virginia?
I'd say 20 miles.
Yeah.
So you didn't know each other before the war, but he ended up being your sergeant, and you ended up saving his life.
Yeah.
and he lived 20 miles away.
Yeah.
So when he came back to the United States after the war was over, did he have a family?
Yeah, he had a family. Had 3 daughters.
Oh.
And
did you ever meet his family?
I met the family a couple times.
Yeah.
But I met him and his wife a lot of times. But the girls, after they growed up, they moved to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And they was school teachers.
Oh.
And I don't know if the third one was a school teacher or not, but the 2 older ones was school teachers.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Now, did you kept in touch with your sergeant after the war at the VFW?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kept in touch with him. In fact, when I retired and bought that house over on Parkway, well, he was in building business. And he retired off from that and went up on the mountain to work. And he went up there to work, and then they give him a job up on the mountain. And he stayed there until he retired. And then after he retired, he built a room on the back of my house over there.
So you
Parkway.
Oh, that's neat.
Hey, going back to the Purple Heart, how long was he out of commission?
How long?
Go back to the battle?
How long after you received your Purple Heart, after you were wounded, how long were you in the hospital? Did you go back to the battle?
I was back in about I'd say a month in the hospital, but then they put you in a recuperation camp until you got to where you could go back to your outfit, or if you couldn't go back to your outfit, they had to send you somewhere else. And a lot of times they sent them home.
Yeah.
And they had all my papers, and I got a card in my son's papers. They were supposed to send me back to North Africa and then send me home from there, but they didn't do it. They kept me there, and
now,
did you go back to battle?
Did the war end then?
Huh?
Did the war end? Why did they not send you to North Africa?
Well, the war ended then in Germany, and I think it was in May.
How did you feel when you heard that the war was ended?
Well, everybody was jumping with joy, you know. But then Pacific was still fighting.
Yeah. And
they started to send some of the boys over to the Pacific. And while they was on their way over there, they give up.
Japan gave up.
Japan gave up.
We dropped the bombs.
And then they just turned the boat around, headed back.
Yeah.
And some of the guys got to come right on to the States. They never went nowhere else.
How long did it take you to get from Europe back home after the war ended?
About 6 days. I landed in the... I can't remember what day it was. It was somewhere around the 20th or something of November, because I landed down in Patrick Henry on Thanksgiving Day. I remember that, and we had our dinner at Patrick Henry. And
when you got back to your home and your family in Winchester?
Well, that was on a Thursday. And on Friday we shipped on to Baltimore discharged from there.
What did you do the first day or the first 2 days when you came back home after the war to your parents' house?
Well, I don't remember that.
You probably slept.
Yeah, but you probably did, but you've probably seen most of your friends.
Yeah.
And that you had
family and friends
before you went in and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did your mother cry when you came back home?
Oh yeah, I reckon so, because she was glad to see me.
Yeah.
And my brother came down to Fort Meade to see me on a Saturday night, and he wanted to bring me home on stay till Sunday and take me back, and I was going to be discharged on Monday, and I said, no, I ain't going. I'm going to stay right here until...
Yeah, you had those good conduct medals.
Huh?
You had those good conduct medals. You had to keep it up.
Yeah. Well, I stayed there on Monday, and on Monday morning, about 9 o'clock, they discharged a bunch of us, and I went into Baltimore and got on the bus.
Ask him if he felt like what it...
Went into Baltimore and got on the bus and come all the way around through Front Row and back into Winchester. Yeah.
Do you feel like your experience in World War II has helped you as a person? Did you learn a lot?
Oh, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, and I've learned what to do and
how important life is.
And do for myself.
Did you learn how important and fragile life is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon so.
Yeah. Well, Tom, we thank you for your service. We thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you.